There's so many signs that Manchester City are back to their best. Phil Foden in particular yesterday was leagues above everybody on that pitch yesterday. Phil Foden returning to his best. You've got Erling Haaland scoring left, right and centre. Apparently we can't score without Erling Haaland, albeit we only scored 2. We still won the game pretty comfortably against Huddersfield. And the opponents we've gone up against for Manchester City fans, it's difficult really to gauge where we are. You look at a crap United side that came to the Etihad with the ball. They tried to hold, they did hold on to the ball for longer than we did, but we dispatched them 3-0. Then, of course, you face Napoli. That was supposed to be a proper test. The Italian champions, 10 men. As soon as they go down to 10 men, it's given that caveat where you can't quite gauge exactly how good Manchester City are right now. Then, of course, Arsenal. I think that was a real indication of spirit, emotion, but still, we didn't offer much going in the other direction. In terms of defensive solidity and resilience, brilliant from Manchester City. Then, you face Huddersfield, a League One mid-table opposition, and we comfortably dominate the game. Should have been 4 or 5, in all honesty, but we come away with a 2-0 win. And Manchester City fans are still probably not entirely on board with what's happened in this recent 10 days. Because there's caveats and narratives associated with every single one of those fixtures that give a skewed opinion to it. So I can understand why not every City fan is on board yet, that City are back, everybody. But there are so many obvious signs that Manchester City are well on their way to becoming back. Back, if you want it, whatever that term back means. Manchester City, Phil Foden, Pep Guardiola, Rodri's back, Haaland scoring goals, the new signings are looking good. I think Manchester City are very close to being comfortable in saying we are back, and I was very pleased. The statistics from yesterday isn't much to read into there, in all honesty. I think City dominated the game, as you can see. So let's jump into the player ratings. Trafford took an early risk at the beginning of the game, but he'll say he had it covered. Some good confident passes out, though. You can't deny that with 100% passing accuracy. That's 22 out of 22. You can't ask for much more than that in terms of distribution as a goalkeeper. You saw one smashed off his post in the second half, but other than that, there was nothing else for him to do, really. So it wasn't a real test of his goalkeeping ability yesterday. Ball retention, very good. As a result, I'm giving him a 6.5. Stones saw so much of the ball. He propped up the narrative of attack versus defence throughout that entire game. Anything that came his way, he dealt with it very, very comfortably. Good defensive numbers. Didn't have a great deal to do, actually, but any signs of Huddersfield even thinking about coming forward, he was there and he dealt with it. It looked easy for Stones yesterday, actually. I thought it looked quite easy for him, so I've given him a 7. Ake, I don't mean to gloss over Ake's performance, but it was an almost identical performance to John Stones. So I would just copy and paste what I have just said about John Stones into the Ake comment section of this video, because it was the same, really. I thought he looked very, very competent, very composed, very easy for him, and anything that came his way was dealt with pretty well. Between the two of them, they've got 238 touches of the ball. So those two in particular were just, everything came off them. They were a springboard for Manchester City yesterday. Good. Both of them, partnership maybe for lesser opposition. I think Stones should be playing alongside Vardiol, is my top 2 centre-backs. What is yours? Let me know in the comments below. Another 7 for Ake. O'Reilly, not his greatest performance. Probably the least quality I've seen from him this season, and he still was pretty good. I thought he was still pretty good. He was all right. Should have taken his chance in the second half. He looked very composed coming forward, though, and he's still got that big dangling approach where he just comes forward with the ball, almost Yaya Toure-esque, where not to the speed of that player, but still coming forward with the ball, and it looks like, he's about to lose it, and before you know it, he's on the edge of the opponent's box, and he hasn't lost it. He's one of those players, and I like that. I appreciate it. He came off in the 76th minute, and I'd expect to see him start against Burnley, but he should have taken that chance. Would have been a different conversation if he'd just dinked that over the keeper, which he tried to do. It was a good save, actually. But I've given him a 6.5. Nunes, I thought he was pretty solid. He produced our best defensive numbers, as you can see. Very good defensive numbers. Still looks a little shaky on the ball, though, for me. There are times when he gets the ball and it's like he doesn't look convinced in himself. Like he doesn't believe in himself that he's a good player. Like he's a bit like, oh, what am I doing next? You know, those sort of moments. And I'm like, that spreads. That spreads like a virus. It can, like, you know, you give off that lack of confidence to the player you're passing to or you're about to receive the ball off, you know. So I do think there was a defensive solidity to his game yesterday, though, so nothing really to be too critical about other than just not looking confident, which is a bit harsh. So another 6.5 for Nunes. Rico, he couldn't make an impact on that game yesterday. I was actually quite disappointed. He was the only player I was disappointed with yesterday, actually. So I've given him a 5.5, but it went on around him yesterday for Nico. He didn't make any horrid mistakes or anything like that, but every single one of Manchester City's players got a passing accuracy of 90% or above in this game. For him to drop to 77% shows that he just wasn't on it yesterday. And this was a good opportunity for Rico Lewis. This was a real, genuine opportunity. He's playing in his favourite position in the midfield. And he wasted that opportunity for me yesterday. He did not give me any indication that he should be playing ahead of Phil Foden or Reinders or even Rodri. I mean, the thought of that, it's just, no, he's a country miles away from overtaking those players in that position. He's a utility player that can play when we need him in games like this in midfield. That's fine. I think he'd do all right. And even then, it was like he could have done more yesterday, Rico Lewis. Didn't really take the opportunity to prove himself in there, so he gets a 5.5. Nico G, he did look commanding. He dominated the ball. Interesting to see what Pep was saying to him after the game, because he often seems to pick on Nico Gonzalez, and I think he described him as coachable after the game, which is good. So there's obviously a lot of belief. Some people were suggesting that it's a bad signing Nico Gonzalez because we're not going to play him. Well, Pep sees him as coachable, which is a great start, a great starting point. Kept things ticking, pretty much faultless, really, from Nico Gonzalez yesterday. I thought he read the game really well. 3 interceptions is testament to that. Fizzed some lovely passes around the pitch. 3 key passes is a testament to that. Really good from Nico Gonzalez. Really impressed. 7.5. Foden, he was just brilliant, sensational. I don't know what that was. Just a bit something. There was just like indescribable emotions that were on the pitch yesterday from Phil Foden. I thought he just looked really, really good. You know, he just looked like an old version of Phil Foden. Goal and an assist, first of all. Obviously, that helps in a performance. But I just felt like he just was explosive and commanding and demanding the ball. Give me that thing. Give me that spherical object and put it at my feet. You know, I want to dictate this game. He was leagues above everyone on that pitch yesterday, Phil Foden. He looks like he's back to his best, or close to, you know, which is great news for Manchester City fans. I'm so excited about the prospect of him and Haaland linking up with Rodri to help Foden flourish in front of him. You know, in a defence that can be as solid as it was in the Arsenal game up until the 93rd minute. But if we can do that all the way to the final whistle in games that matter more than Huddersfield, albeit, you know, you got to knock them out, but still, you know, the big games in Champions League, then absolutely, you know, what a player Phil Foden is going to be for us this season. Really, really good from him. Back to his best for me, 8.5. Savinho, I've seen mixed opinions on his performance yesterday. His goal absolutely helps, but I thought he was purposeful. His attitude was top. I thought it was good, and I definitely had one eye on that. I thought, like, the Spurs saga, the transfer saga, I was, like, concerned about that. Is he as focused being in a Manchester City shirt this season? I thought he did. I thought he played quite well yesterday. I thought he's into almost too much. He was banging his head against a wall a little bit on occasions, like trying too hard, trying to prove a point too much. You know, but his finish, really good. Only one place you're going to beat the keeper there is just smashing it high. The keeper doesn't expect it to go that high and clipping it off the bar like that. Really, really good from Savinho. There was still that element of frustration to his game where he was going down dead ends and like his end product wasn't always quite as refined as it should be. A little bit wasteful at times, but still I appreciated what he was trying to do yesterday, and he got himself a goal. Arguably, through good intentions, he deserved it. So I've given him a 7. Oscar Barb, he looked good on the eye at times, but kind of like Savinho, he kept running into dead ends. I felt like he got a lot of joy in the first half. He was ripping the fullback apart in the first half. He was brilliant, Oscar Barb. He constantly got to the byline. A little bit wasteful once he beat his fullback, but I felt like he was still getting a lot of joy. Once the second half rolled along, I felt like he wasn't quite as purposeful and his touch was a little bit more off and he wasn't getting as much joy in the second half. And he kept trying to go in between players. And I love the intention. I appreciate it just the same as I appreciate Savinho's intentions, and what you're trying to do is just get to the byline and cause problems. But there were times when there was a simple pass will do the job. We don't need to go through them every time. Sometimes a simple pass is the better option. And that was an area of his game that I thought could have improved yesterday. Kind of similar to Savinho, but without the goal, really. 6.5 for Oscar Bob. Davin Mukasa, I was impressed. I've given him a fairly generous 7 because it was his senior debut, so I'm being a little bit lenient here to his score and what he delivered, because the rest of the players I expect from at a higher level from, but he looked very good, man. He looks very good, very promising. Big, physical. He's winning aerial duels as well, getting off that corner and nodding it down as well. Laid off an assist for Phil Foden, of course, which massively helps you score. The intelligence, the awareness, and I thought the passion was there. It's undeniable, as it should be on your senior debut. That should never be in question. But physicality was what impressed me most. Big, powerful, put it about. I liked it. I really liked his performance yesterday. Looked really, really promising. So 7 out of 10. For Davin Mukasa. The Heskey brothers came on, amazing, great news for them. Reinders and Calvin Bloody Phillips came on the pitch as well yesterday, all for the last 10 minutes or 10, 12, 13 minutes or so. I'm not going to be slapping a score on, even though in particular the Heskey brothers, I'm not going to be giving them a score for 13 minutes of football. Seems a bit harsh, but I will say Calvin Phillips came on and he looked, there was one moment where he was like, he couldn't tackle the ball and Huddersfield came up the other end of the pitch and hit the post. I mean, I'm not convinced. I'm still gobsmacked that this guy's at the club, to be honest. But I mean, fair play to him. He's had a tough time. I feel for him. I genuinely feel so sorry for him. But I can't see him getting many minutes this season for Manchester City. I hope it. I wish him all the best. I really do. But I wish Manchester City all the best ultimately. And that is looking good for us right now. And those hopes for Manchester City fans are starting to come true on the pitch. That we are returning back to what we saw the season before last. Last season was dismal, but we look so much better this season already. Obviously, the 2 games were catastrophic losses against Spurs and Brighton. But if we've gotten that out of our system, we've just gone through a run of games that are very awkward to analyse, in truth, because there's so many caveats and associations with it that sort of give the negative fan a reason to complain still. Because it wasn't a real test because it was Huddersfield. 10-man Napoli. Arsenal was too defensive. United are crap, which is just fun to say that in general. So you can always say that. I'm quite happy to hear that all day long. But they were crap, United. Very, very poor. So it's hard to gauge where City are. But combining all of them, we didn't lose any of the games, first of all, and we won 3 of them. And we were pretty convincing in all 4 matches for me. So I'm still feeling like this is a very positive situation for Manchester City fans to get excited about. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up silverware.